Good day, folks. It is Saturday, and that means it's time for me to talk about an episode of a superhero animated TV show. Today, I will be talking about the Season 2 episode of the Legion of Superheroes, titled In the Beginning. If you will allow me to quickly summarize the events of this episode, I will be doing all kinds of spoilers, so flee if that's the sort of thing that you do not like. So this episode starts with Cosmic Boy accepting an award on the behalf of the Legion of Superheroes from the Legion's good friend and father to Chameleon Boy, R.J. Brand. But then Brand is kidnapped. Meanwhile, Saturn Girl has woken up from her healing trance with very little hullabaloo. She and Lightning Lad go to try and stop the kidnappers from taking Brand, but they fail. Meanwhile, future Superman asks what the deal is between the three of them as they are all arguing with each other. Chameleon Boy and Brainiac 5 then tell him the origin of the Legion of Superheroes, which is basically the same as every origin of the team from the comic books. They're all on a transport ship together. R.J. Brand is also on the transport ship. Some terrorists/bandits are trying to kill Brand, but the three founding members of the team manage to save his life. This episode does expand on this origin a little bit by revealing that after initially saving his life, he is still in danger, this time from his business partner Doyle. Doyle wants to sell the star-creating technology Brand has created to people who can use it to destroy stars, making Doyle filthy rich and making the universe a very unsafe place. The Legionnaires stop Doyle in the past. Meanwhile, in the present day, it's revealed that, shocker, Doyle is behind Brand's kidnapping and has destabilized Brand's space station so that it will create a very large black hole. The Legionnaires are able to stop the black hole thing, and the day is saved once again thanks to the Powerpuff Girls. This episode is probably my favorite episode of the entire series, and is definitely my favorite episode of this season. It speaks volumes and volumes to the awful quality of the storyline of this entire season that my favorite episode so far has been one that has absolutely nothing to do with the overall story arc. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still a problem that this season played up Imperiex as being a gigantic threat to the time stream if he escaped to the 31st century, and so far, he's been about as much of a threat as Team Rocket from the Pokemon cartoon. But if I ignore everything about this season, this episode is fantastic. I don't actually think we needed an origin for this team or anything like that. If I had been watching this series as it came out, this episode would have been roughly 2 years after the series began, and I don't think anyone would have been confused watching episodes of the series wondering how the team formed. But even though we didn't need the episode, and even though it is largely a filler episode to kill time before stuff hits the fan again as the series comes to a close, it's still a great episode. Up until this point, we've only ever seen dissension between Cosmic Boy, Saturn Girl, and Lightning Lad, and you have to wonder, are these guys even friends in this series? In the comics, even when they all have misunderstandings and arguments, more or less they are buddies. But I never got that feeling for the three of them in this show until this episode. Now, part of that is that Cosmic Boy has been a recurring character in this series, not even appearing until the end of Season 1, and only appearing once or twice in Season 2. And I was under the impression that we were never going to see Saturn Girl awake again in this season. So it's not like we've had a whole lot of time to see these guys hanging out together. But what little time we do see them together, they're always bickering. So it was nice to see that, yeah, underneath all of that, these guys are still friends, and they are willing to put aside any differences that they have with each other for the benefit of the entire universe. My only big problem with this episode is that we don't have nearly enough of an anti-alien sentiment in this world where the Legion forms. In a few of the origins for the Legion, humans aren't really accepting of any of the alien cultures in the United Planets, and that is what makes the formation of a team of teenagers from different planets, cultures, and ideologies so amazing. When the rest of the universe is ready to write off the other planets, the Legion is ready to show that working together is the best option for the future. All of that is absent from this episode, and the worst part is, it wouldn't have even been that big of a rewrite to make this a thing in this series. Chameleon Boy and R.J. Brand recognize themselves as son and father, respectively, on screen, yet Brand is a human, at least according to appearances. Now, in at least one origin for the Legion, Brand was stuck in human form. I don't know if that's what's going on here, because we are never told. It would have been nice if the xenophobia that we've seen in the comics was present in this origin, and that's why Brand is pretending to be human. Then the three founding members of the Legion work together, eschewing all of the ideas of isolation and hatred toward other species. It really wouldn't have been that hard to work that into the plot of this episode, I don't think. Oh well. Really, if you're more interested in the overall plot of the entire season, this would be like one of 2 episodes to skip in this season. But if you're interested in a break from what is, if we're all being honest, a really annoying storyline in this season, then this is an amazing episode. It's a great call out to people who might be fans of the comics, and it even does just enough that is different from the comics to keep the interest of someone who maybe didn't want to see the exact same story play out again in a different medium. That's about all I have today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you did like this video, next week I will be talking about an episode of Batman the Animated Series, and the week after that I'll be talking about another episode of the Legion of Superheroes. And you can always come check out my channel throughout the week for more videos of various kinds. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of the day.